Hi guys, my name is Becca, and I just wanted to share this video with you. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and so I just want to share my experience with mental health and just what the Lord has done in my life with this. And I just want to start off by saying that um, if you deal with any sort of mental health, whatever it is, just know that every single person that you encounter, they have their moments too. The people that you see walking down the street that look so perfect to you, that you wish that you could have their life, they're not perfect. There's nothing wrong with you. And there are so many people who go through this, so you're not alone. So I just want to share my testimony with you just to encourage you, and just to let you know that you, in fact, are not alone. So when I was 6 years old, I had gotten into a car accident with my mom and sister, and it was a really severe car accident. There's a couple of really bad injuries, um, and we were hospitalized. My mom was in the hospital for a while. She had to get staples in her head, and I had to get stitches in my face. Um, and it took us a little while, but we were brought back as a family to the house after my mom had recovered a little bit, and we started going about our normal life. And just a few weeks after, my parents started noticing some changes in me. They started noticing that I was just really attached to my mom, and that I was just really nervous all the time. And so they took me to see a therapist, and she told them that I had anxiety stemming from the car accident. And so she worked with me through some stuff, and just really helped me to be able to cope with it and just find things that helped me to just relax at times when I felt so anxious. And that helped me for a while. I had some really great years of doing awesome, and not having huge issues. Did have anxiety attacks often in cars. Um, but they got a little bit better. I didn't have bad days every day. Then when I was in fifth grade, we drove home from my sister's gymnastics competition, and I had a really severe anxiety attack, probably the worst one I've ever had, and I ended up having to be taken to the hospital because it just was so bad. And I remember going to the hospital. I remember being in the midst of the anxiety attack and not being able to breathe and just feeling stuck. But I don't remember coming out of the hospital. I don't remember weeks after that. I remember sleeping a lot. I didn't leave my house. Um, I knew that I had to get back to school soon. And so my parents brought in another therapist, just to assess me and see what was going on. And he did some tests with me, asked me some questions, and then diagnosed me with PTSD from the car accident, as well as a severe anxiety disorder. And from the get with the anxiety, we had decided that I was not going to be medicated. We weren't going to do medicine. That's not how we didn't want to do that. So he got us another therapist, started working through things, was doing great. And I had, all through middle school, I did great, didn't have a ton of anxiety. And then went into high school, and it just started to build. And I, went through freshman and sophomore year pretty good. And then um, at the end of my sophomore year, I just started developing this anxiety that stemmed from kind of a bullying situation. And I just, it was summertime, so it was great. I didn't have to do anything. I could just stay at home, which was awesome for me. Um, and then, the school year started approaching, and I went into my guidance counselor, who I had developed a really great relationship with at that point, and I told her I don't want to come back to school. I don't want to come here anymore. Um, and she said, I'm not going to let you do that because I think that you can do this. So we did a flex schedule. I did half online and half in school. And, it was fine. I would make it through most of the days, but then other days I couldn't do it. And I'd have anxiety attacks, and I'd have to leave. And at the end of the semester, I just said, I can't be in this school anymore. I didn't have like that many friends anymore. I really felt disconnected from everybody that I had grown up with and had been friends with over the last 10 years of my life. So I just said, I'm not coming here anymore. So I transferred to the alternative school in Heartland, and I was just shocked. I was so blown away at this because everybody has this misconception about this school, and just that it's for delinquents. And yeah, a lot of the kids there have issues. I mean, I had issues, and that's why I was there. but they're all kids who are deciding that they want to stay in school and try and do the best that they can. So I started going to Legacy, and the staff was amazing. They worked with me and helped me. I made some really great friends, and I was actually able to graduate early, which was amazing. So I graduated early, started working, and in that summer after I graduated, or I'm sorry, before I graduated, so I started going to a young adults group. Actually, I currently still go there 4 years later, called Momentum. It's at my church, Cornerstone in Highland, Michigan, and I met the Lord, and I built a relationship with God, and I just saw these huge changes in my life. And time went on, and things were so good. I was making amazing friends. And about a year and a half into my time at Momentum, just the enemy started attacking me. He started speaking lies into my life right when the Lord was just changing things. So just all this stuff started to change, and I had fear and anxiety, and I stopped going to church. And I'd made some really great friends that were so supportive of me. And they loved me and encouraged me, and they stood by me. But it was still hard. I would go to Momentum, and I'd have anxiety attack and have to leave. And then I just wouldn't go. And it was really hard. So it was in November of 2015. Yeah, November of 2015, I had started talking to a really good friend of mine, and we kind of started developing a relationship in a way, and just really getting to know each other. And something that the last thing that I wanted at this time in my life was a relationship, because I didn't want it to complicate my already complicated and crazy life. I didn't want to put my burdens on anybody else. But he jumped in and he supported me, and he just stood by me. And, I felt the Lord's hand just bring peace on my heart, and I just started getting more comfortable in my own skin. And Johnny was speaking life into me, and he was encouraging me to the Lord, and I just slowly started getting better. And I was at this point where I wouldn't drive 10 minutes from my house. I wouldn't leave my house. Johnny was coming back and forth doing all the driving, and I was having anxiety attacks and not being able to do anything. And it was the worst that my anxiety had ever been. I was just fearful. I was a prisoner. I was locked in these chains, and slowly over the months, I just started getting better. And around Easter 2016, my parents went on a trip with my younger sister to Mexico, and I had really bad anxiety about this. I was scared that they were going to get into an accident, something bad was going to happen. And I had a really bad anxiety attack when they left. And I actually ended up driving a car off of the road because I was mid-anxiety. And my neighbor had came and stayed with me. And I woke up the next morning, and I just felt the Lord's hand on me, just telling me just to be calm and be still and trust in Him. So I did. And as the week went on, I just drew closer to the Lord, and He just was speaking to me and telling me, this is it. Anxiety is going to be done. We're done with this. We're going to break these chains. And He spoke to my heart about moving out of my parents' house, and just kind of moving on with my life and getting away from just this safe zone that I had. We're not called to live a comfortable life. We're called to be uncomfortable. And that's what the Lord was telling me to do. So when my parents came home, I told them, I love you guys, but I need to move out. Started the process of buying a home. And as this started happening, I was just pressing into the Lord and reading His Word, and praying, and constantly, being in church again, and surrounding myself with people who loved me and who loved the Lord. And I started to feel these chains just break off of me. And I found a home that I love and have lived in for 2 years tomorrow. And Johnny and I have been together for 2.5 years, and moving out and being in a long-term relationship was something that I never thought would happen for me because of my anxiety. I was so hindered and held back, but the Lord just broke the chains. I fell onto my knees at one point and I just said, Lord, I give this to you. Like, Lord, I surrender this completely to you. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And I know that I don't have to because I know that you will heal me. And I woke up the next morning and the chains were gone. Moved into my house and for the first time, I felt like I could breathe. And the Lord just constantly reminded me that I'm important, and that anxiety is not where my story ended. Anxiety is not where your story ended. I have been able to connect with so many students through our church that suffer with anxiety, and just even adults and women that I've spoken to that they struggle so hard with anxiety because they're holding on to it. And I held on to it too for 15 years of my life. I held on to it, and when I finally let go and surrendered to the Lord, that was when He healed me and when I was able to have freedom from this. And so I just want to encourage you that there is nothing that the Lord can't heal. There's nothing that the Lord can't fix. And if you just surrender to Him, surrender this anxiety, depression, OCD, any of these mental illnesses that you're dealing with, surrender them to the Lord, and just completely let go of it. You think, okay, I'm letting go of it. I don't want to live with this, but then you still have it. It's because you're holding on. And we are not called to be held by the enemy. We are called to live a life for the Lord. And, I just believe that He used this, and I wouldn't change a single thing about my past. I wouldn't change the anxiety attacks or the years of feeling like a prisoner, because He has used my story to help other people. And I hope that as you watch this, that you just see a little bit of light. There is light at the end of that tunnel, and the Lord, He wants to change your story. This isn't where it ends for you. This is where it begins. So I hope that, you just realize now at this point, maybe, if anything, that you're not alone and that it will be okay. And just know that, God is so much more capable than the enemy. And so we just have to trust in Him. So I hope that you enjoyed this short video and that, you were able to just connect with it a little bit. If you ever need prayer or anything, just send me a message. I don't, just reach out, because along with so many other people, want to see an end to this mental illness. So just know that you are loved, and thank you so much for watching.